This is a quick video to showcase some of the things you can do with Pyromancers online dungeon painter. It's a free Flash-based tool. It's available on the internet. I use it for working up quick dungeons when I need something in a hurry. The following tower session's been sped up a little bit, but it probably took me between 10 and 15 minutes to do. You can see I'm just building a really basic tower, but it's 4 levels and there's a few cool things in there. The reason I've chosen a round tower is because round objects are a lot harder to do in a tile-based mapping solution. So I was just having a bit of a demo what you can do. So you can see here I've used the arc tool to create the round walls around the tower. I've used the ellipse tool to create the tiles for the floor. I'm just drawing a few internal walls now. They're nice and easy. Now for the staircase, I'm placing the staircase on the layer underneath the outside wall because the staircase isn't curved, but I need it to be curved on my map. And then I'm using the arc line tool and I'm making sure I untick stick to grid so that I can move a little bit off center from the grid, and that way I can get it to cover the right amount of stairs so that my staircase actually looks like it curves around with the building. I'm just trying to look for an appropriate way to draw the doorway here, so I'm sort of just building this tower on the fly, and you can see I make a few mistakes here. I go backwards and forwards a few times. So now I'm about to start the second level of the tower, and I'm going to basically build it the same size again. So my map size here is 16 by 16 for the tower. I'm just using a different brickwork for the tower here. I'm using maybe a little alcove or a window on this floor. This one's sticking out towards the east, and you can see I'm just moving layers around to different levels. Again, I'm using the arc tool to create the walls around the tower. Put a staircase. Now my staircases are going to be in slightly different spots, so what I'm going to have here is half a staircase showing half a staircase coming from below, and a full staircase showing the staircase going up to the next level. And again, I've got to use that arc tool, and again I've got to unstick it from the grid because I need to move it off the start and the end points of the line, the arc line that border the stairs need to start just offset completely from the stair graphic itself, but in the middle I want it to cover so that the entire line is just inside the stair. Not a very complicated level, this one. That's about all the rooms I'm going to do on this level. Put in another level. Now I duplicated that circle. I was hoping I could flip it around or rotate it around, but turns out there isn't at all. But at least I can use that to quickly line up my next lines. Again, just drawing a tiny little line, dragging it the opposite direction. I'm going to put another little tower window on that side. Make sure everything's in the right groups. Pick a new tile for the floors. Let's try something different. We'll try some pavers. Make sure it's below the outside walls. Now again, we're going to do the staircase again here, and we're going to maybe have a spiral staircase in the middle of the room this time instead of another one going up. You can see my spiral staircase is a bit crappy in that it's got this black background all through it, which really messes up the tile images for everything else. And right now I'm just trying to build a round wall that follows the same line as the external wall, but I've got stick to grid on, and I've got to actually unstick to grid and offset it a little bit just to get it in the right position. Yeah, I've accidentally grabbed and moved a layer. It's a pretty basic tool in a lot of respects in terms of the undo and the redo features. You can undo one last move. You can't do a redo of a move, and you can't. You can undo or delete a layer that you've added, but you can't undo a move, and you can't redo any actions with the do or undo tools. So again, you can see I've used the arc tool, and I've tried to get my walls to line up all the way around that central staircase, so that I'm pretty much blocking all that black border around the circular staircase, which I didn't want. A couple more walls. Now I'm just using a different tile of wall for the door. That's pretty much it for this level. Now we're going to build one more level on top, and we're going to make it a bit smaller, just for something different. Different tile again. This level's only going to be 8 by 8 squares in size. Still completely round. Drop my staircase in the middle. Now I've rotated the staircase a little bit because we're only going to see the top part of the staircase here. Again, I can't actually delete half the staircase, so I've just covered it up with a couple of tiles of the floor. Now I changed my mind in this section a few times. I start doing just a half staircase, and then I change it to a half staircase with a bit of a shelter on the exit. After I finished it, I realised I probably wanted to do it a different way again, but that's okay. Another thing I don't really like about this tile set is the drop shadows. I prefer the images without drop shadows. You can actually upload your own tile sets. You can't upload them and leave them there permanently because the owner of the website doesn't want to deal with your copyright infringement issues. So if you've got some tiles and stuff you want to load up for a session, yeah, absolutely you can do that. You can see I mess around with this one for quite a while, and I still don't really achieve the result as after, but it's close. I'm just adjusting the layers because particularly that drop shadow it affects the solidity of the walls if they're too far down. Okay, now I'm going back to my grass layer at the top. I'm just going to add in a bit of colour, we're going to start with some leaves, throw those around, and because I'm working on a layer completely below the base of my building, I can run them right up and even halfway under the building, and they won't overlay anything. Just get a bit of a pseudo-random scattering of these tiles. Throw in some rocks. And I like to keep the rocks around the base of the tower. The tower is probably built on some sort of rocky outcrop. There might even be a few bits of rubble left over from the tower's construction. Maybe some bigger stones. There's only a limited set of tiles, but I've got it set to randomly rotate each time I lay some down. And throw a whole bunch of rocks around the tower. A few stones scattered around. Gives it just a little bit of extra colour. And again, we'll throw some more leaves, just a bit of wind blowing stuff around the place. Some of these we'll put over the top of the rocks, or with having the rocks just peeking through a little bit. Now, with the trees, I find it's easiest just to use one or two, max 3 types of trees, and I choose my trees based on the grass or the ground colouring. I want to have trees that I can see against that colouring. So because the green of my base is pretty dark, I've used either light coloured trees or I've used just the bare grey tree. You can see I've got my tiles pretty much finished. I can save this so I can upload it later on. I save it as an RDM file, and then you can use the open tool to upload your image later on and do some more work on it. Now I first went to export it, and it kind of cut off the bottom of the image a little bit. And why it does that is that it basically only wants to export the image that's got drawings on it. So I threw another tree on the image just at the bottom, just to force it to expand that image size. Then I've taken the image and I've just tidied it up a little bit in Photoshop or in GIMP, but you could leave it as it is. You could leave it on the white background. Have fun.